April, a pretty lady with red hair, talks to us at her comfortable home in North Wales as her 4 lively children play in the garden. What follows is a rich insight into her experiences of school, society, family and life today.
My life is about enablement and ability rather than other people's views are, because I am visibly disabled, other people's attitudes treat me as disabled. Whereas I personally don't view myself as disabled, because there really isn't a lot in this life that I can't do for myself. My primary school headmaster was of a mind to lock me away where people couldn't see me because I was different and I looked different, and to shut me in what was known as the thick room. I was only allowed to go to school 2 afternoons or 2 mornings a week because they felt that I shouldn't be there that often, because it might upset the other children, because I was so very different in their eyes. So any activities I wasn't allowed to participate in. Now it would be perhaps under health and safety regulations, or measures would be put in place now to enable that individual child to participate fully. Whereas in my primary school days it was, no, you can't be involved. We don't know what to do with you, so you stay at home. Now at 40 plus I can look back and understand it. But at that time, I remember when I was a child of 8, 9, 10, feeling immense loneliness because I was shut out. I was excluded on a daily basis. It wasn't a case of now and then being excluded. It was being excluded on a daily basis by society. So at 13, I decided I wasn't doing school anymore. I decided I quit. And as the educational system then, they didn't come out or warn my parents or anything. They just said, oh, well, perhaps that's for the best. My dad was a farmer and of old school ways, very, he viewed me as very, very different, I was his little girl he needed to protect, and my brother was much the same. So nobody was allowed in and everybody was kept out. So I did lead from a very young age a very, very lonely life. So learning how to form friendships and relationships has been very, very difficult.
Having left school and unable to read or write, and with no clear plans for her future, April became dependent on an abusive partner and alcohol for a number of years. It was a life that she finally realised she needed to change.
It wasn't easy. It really wasn't easy at all, because he was the only person that showed me affection. Even if he was punching me or smacking me from one end of the room to the other, or kicking me from one end of the street to the other, at least he cared enough to do that. So what better way to kind of try and make sense of the whole 17 years before was to go and do a counselling course, a basic skills course. And I remember walking into Yale College in Wrexham, panicking, thinking, oh my God, having sweats and expecting to be treated like I'd been treated in primary school and in secondary school. But I think it was my need to understand, and my need to understand, to try and change me. I remember filling the form in, and I said to the receptionist, I said, this is hard, because it's previous qualifications. I didn't have any, somebody to give you a reference. I didn't have any. But she looked at me and then she said, I'm going to give you the course tutor's number. And she said, phone her. And so I went home and I phoned her and I explained the situation to her. And she said, right. She said, come here on this date. And she said, we'll meet, we'll talk. And she enrolled me straight away. And it was only through her really giving me the chance that I had the opportunity to look and discover the positives.
April's experience at college brought about the much-needed change in direction, and now in 2012 she works as a disability activist, lectures at Glyndŵr University and is a governor at the Walton Centre in Liverpool. She's also a very busy mum to her 4 beautiful children. Her experiences have been difficult, but they also drive her forward to live life to the full. Sharing her memories may be painful, but her body language shows her inner determination.
People say, but you've got bits missing, you're bilateral below elbow, for want of a medical term. But at the end of the day, when all's said and done, I'm here. I'm here for my children, and that's the most important thing in my world. I could not do or be who I am today without my team around me, without my family around me. And they're pretty exceptional because we work as a team. We don't rely on the outside world. We don't. We are very, as a team, very self-sufficient. And I think that comes with aspirations. We don't build our aspirations to the sky. We build achievable aspirations. And when you take them little steps, they lead into big steps. And when you can reflect back on what you've done, and the little steps have led to the big changes in life, you look back and you go, wow. We live to smile, we live to breathe, we live to explore, experience. We live for that. We don't live to be labelled. My children certainly don't live to be labelled. So I think my advice to anybody who wants to call themselves disabled, who wants to give themselves the label disabled, that's fine by you. That's your choice. But get the positive back into your life. You can be sitting in that corner or wherever in that dark place. You can have the most, what people perceive, terrible thing happen to you that stop you in your tracks, that'll put you on your bum. But it's so important to bring and to look at that situation 3 to 6 months down the line, or 12 months down the line even, and grab that little piece of nugget, or that little piece of gold, or that little piece of light. From every bad situation, there is that nugget, there is that piece of light that takes you forward.
As a confident woman and mother living in 2012, society's attitudes still have an impact on April and her young family. However, with the development of disability rights legislation and the Equality Act 2010, disabled people have a right to challenge and confront these issues.
You don't need to be disrespectful of differences. You need to be accepting of difference. And those are that's what I instill in my children, to accept difference, and my children understand difference. I would hope that in the future people accept and understand difference rather than disrespect difference. Just because somebody is different doesn't mean to say they're any less of a person.